Alex here, University of South Florida. How do we define literary place? It's a really fascinating question. I've given it a lot of thought because I live in the state of Florida, which kind of has a no place. It's always subject to reinvention. And whenever we think about the literature of place, we think about it capturing the essence of that land or its people, but we forget the extent, or it's harder to see the extent in which the literary representation is as much a reflection of the mindset of the author or where the work was published or whatever preconceptions were had about that place as the place itself, which brings us to the literature of Florida. The first mention of the word Florida in English poetry comes from a 16th century ballad. Have you not heard of Florida at the Bodleian Library in England? Have you not heard of Florida, a country far bewest, where savage people planted are by nature and by hest, who in the mold or soil find glistering gold, in it for trifles sell, with high, let's go. So think about, have you not heard of Florida, the country far by west? In this case, the place is being defined by the distance, and the distance always opens a space for the imagination. When we don't know a space as well, when we don't have concrete details, that opens the door for fabrication. In 1589, Juan de Castellanos, the Colombian poet, published the beginning of what would be the United States literature, the literature of the U.S., with an elegy on the death of Juan Ponce de Leon. And here he describes the fountain of youth. After drinking its waters a few times, from bathing their weary appendages, women lost the ugliness that came with age and cleaned their pallid, sick complexion. They plastered their faces with mud packs. They livened up the dull hue of their skin with no desire to become doncellas. All the women would leave these waters, meaning they didn't stay too long. It was said that the flowery forests and fields have such admirable effects that one no longer sees the appearance of things that used to be most bothersome. Quarrels are not known, nor litigation. Instead, joy, pleasure, and great fiestas. The country was painted to us in this way, as a place restored to the first golden age. So again, Juan de Castellanos is as much writing about the myth of the Renaissance golden age as Florida. It's as much a space of disbelief as reporting. And I think that's a really important thing to remember with colonial letters. To what extent does the work describe the place or the people or the situation, or is it a reflection of the preconceptions, what the audience wanted to hear, what the market had to bear, whatever the author or reader was bringing to the table by way of expectation? I don't know. I never have an answer. And that, in fact, is, I think, what makes this literature so rich. Thank you.